Hey there, this is Amanda Rueda with Product Intelligence, and I want to walk you through the monthly Think Big sessions that we'll be hosting in Product Intelligence. So this will be our first session, and I'm really excited about it. I want to talk to you about why we're doing it, what you can expect, and then finally dive into the topic for this month. So why are we doing this? I'm coming up on my 1-year anniversary with Product Intelligence, and I'm constantly thinking about how we can improve our product for our customers, both internal customers and external customers. And one opportunity I see is we, the product, as well as the dev team, could be working together more closely earlier in the dev and product lifecycle. So typically what happens today is somebody has an idea for something gets recorded. We have some high-level product ideas that we're trying to achieve, and each of us works in our own kind of siloed swim lane to conduct specific processes along the dev cycle. And instead, what I'd like to do is capitalize on the idea of the product trio, which brings dev, product, and design into the cycle much earlier in the process, so that we're finding opportunities together. We're discovering those opportunities, validating those opportunities. And while we can't work that way efficiently for every piece of work we touch, we could certainly work that way for the big ideas, especially the complex ones, the ones that are not readily maybe understood, or a solve isn't readily apparent to us. And so with the Think Big sessions, I want to take a big problem and bat it around with the development team, with any guest customers that might be affected by it, and with myself and any other folks across GitLab, so that we can kind of dissect it, verify if it really is a problem we want to solve, and then identify different ways we could potentially solve it. We're not meant to leave a Think Big session with a plan for exactly how we're going to solve something and put it into the next milestone, but instead, we're going to bring diversity of ideas to the forefront to make sure that we're not thinking in a siloed manner, to make sure that we are not allowing biases of experience to guide our thinking, and to really challenge ourselves with being able to look at a problem in many different ways and find many different solutions to being able to solve that problem. Then, with multiple solutions, we would assign a technical spike in an upcoming milestone for somebody to take that those refined ideas further, and then eventually we could put it into development. So we're looking for big, hairy, audacious problems to solve for these monthly Think Big sessions, and that's the reason we're doing it in this manner. So what can you expect in a Think Big session? So first of all, we're distributed all around the world, and we want to be inclusive of all of our team members. So one thing that you'll see is every month, the timing of the session will change, so that at least once every other month, folks have a chance to join synchronously to the session. But there are a number of async opportunities to join and contribute as well. And that is, I'm pre-recording this session to explain what we're going to be talking about, so folks can maybe start thinking about this asynchronously. You can jot down your thoughts in the issue even before the session happens, whether you plan to attend or not attend. And you can start discussing as a group if you'd like asynchronously in the issue as well. After the session is complete, we will put the outputs, like an output summary, in the issue, and I will tag the entire team and ask for additional contributions. So after a week of asynchronous contributions, we will then kind of call it complete, that phase complete. We will take the ideas that the group decides are viable to explore, and those will be scheduled for a future technical spike. So that's what you can expect, how you can contribute async, and let's talk about the problem to solve for this session. So let me just do a quick screen share so that you're not staring at me this whole time. But just for purposes of logistics, we have an epic that explains the session format. So please go ahead and take a look at epic 7823. Future sessions ideas will be documented here. If anybody has any ideas, please just drop them in as an idea in the comments. And every session will have its own dedicated issue. And this is where you will be adding your comments. I will add a thread here for you to contribute to. Async ideas. Okay, and so here's where you're going to go ahead and start adding your ideas. Okay, so what is the problem that we're trying to solve in April? So the first thing that we're going to discuss is the idea of decoupling metrics computation from service bean collection. What does that mean? So when we are pulling database sourced metrics, right? So if we look at, I don't think I have this up. Oh, here we go. So if we look at database source metrics, many of these, I don't know if all because I'm not technically, I don't technically understand it all, but we have 830 of these database metrics, and I know at least some of them are calculations, right, at the time that we collect service bean. And so one of the things that we've been chatting about is, well, if something times out, how do we allow the timeout of that particular metric to occur without affecting the rest of the payload, right? And so there are different things that we can do, much lower barrier to entry, less cost than this concept that we're talking about in Think Big. But I want to take 4 steps back and say, well, why not decoupling the metrics from collection? And so I think the first thing we're going to try to achieve in our Think Big session is determine what outcome or opportunity are we seeking, right? Really define the desired outcome. So in our first, I think we allot like 5 minutes, yeah. So first 5-10 minutes, whatever it takes, we're going to discuss the problem to solve, which is can we decouple metrics computation from collection so that we minimize failure of the entire collection, spread processing time to minimize timeouts, choose when and where to spend the compute time, be intentional about when those things run. So we're going to talk about this question, and we're going to identify what is the outcome as a group. What would success look like? Okay. Once we identify what success looks like, we're going to start thinking about individual ideas to get there. And before we get too deep in the process, I will also review this use case with you. And this particular use case comes to us from the composition analysis team. They frequently run into issues with their database service bean metrics. One metric in particular is license management jobs. It's been failing for months. You'll see the issue that's been created here for that. And the product manager from the composition analysis team tells us that what they're trying to achieve is to write or up the counter, right? Increase the counter by 1 every time somebody uses the license compliance feature for the first time. And because this is a very popular feature, it constantly times out. And so while we're not trying to actually solve this problem for this specific metric, we're just using this use case as something that may be positively influenced by separating calculation from collection. So this is a tangible use case that we can use to frame the question. All right, so now I want you to hear from the product manager that I spoke with directly. So let me go ahead and share. Here we go. So here's Nicole, and this is the problem in her words.
We end up with trash fires. One trash fire being every time we try to record a license compliance thing. And this was just the one that was the noisiest child. So it's the one that comes to mind first. So way back when we had all of the different things that we were trying to record, when this happened, because we were trying to compute in SAS, was this a first occurrence? And should we up the counter by 1? And license compliance is super popular for some reason I don't understand. It would time out. It could not process that query in the Rails without just dying. And so we kept being told, it's dying. Why don't you use an estimation? And so we moved over to this estimation methodology, and it would still time out.
Okay, so that was Nicole in her words, describing the problem. We appreciate that. All right, so thanks so much for listening, for hearing the problem that we're looking to solve. Please do look at the issue and contribute either async, or we'll see you at the session on Tuesday. Before we go, please make sure that you have access to Mural, because we'll be using that tool in the session. If you don't already have access and you have not created an access request, or you have one and it hasn't been closed, please create it and ping me in the issue so I can get that expedited. Thanks a lot and have a great rest of your day.